Okay, so one of the things that I did is I made a treatment that basically explains what I want to do, what my interactive components are going to be, and I have a little illustration here. I have a link to it here, so obviously you're just going to be doing it with me, but this, I already kind of drew it out before I even was going to attempt this. So generally speaking, I would suggest whenever you're working on anything, anything digital, I should say, is always best actually to draw it by hand away from the computer, or even if you draw it in the computer but draw it freehand. The reason for that is that when you make stuff in the computer, it sort of influences your work. If you remove it, it comes more from you and it'll be much more original. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna create the background, so I'll create new. And for these, I'm just going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go to, where are you? Film and video. And then let's do 1920 by 1080, so that's HD, obviously. There's a 1280 by 720, but it's better to go too big because I can always shrink down. You don't obviously want to scale up. So I'm just going to go 1920, which is going to be way bigger than we actually need, but I like the idea of doing that. So resolution, make sure it's 72. You'll notice that for film and video, for things that are on screens, 72 ppi is what we pixels per inch, not dpi. And then for like photo, you'll see that's 300 typically, so 300 ppi. It's dpi when it's printed. Anyway, okay, so let's go back there. 1920 by 1080. Good. Now it's going to do this. And you're going to see right off the bat it has these lines here. These are action safe and type safe. So in film, basically they say anything that's an important action should fit inside this outer line, this box that's in here, right? So the idea is that if sometimes what's in this area could get lost if they're going on TV or something, okay, or a mod or whatever. And then anything that's title safe, which is extra super important, like a title, has to go inside this inner box, and that's why they exist. But I really like them because, for one, they're not usually have an issue, but you can see it makes it snap to it, which is great, but I don't actually want the snapping, so we're not going to do that. I'm going to get rid of that guy there. So we can get rid of it two ways. One, I can hit Control H, or if you go to, or Command H, or you go to Show, turn off extras. But if I do want to have any extras, you know, that might be, I might want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and instead get rid of them. So you switch to the Select tool. All you have to do is just click and drag them off into outer space, and they go away. Go away. Go away. You gotta go all the way though, because oops, cancel. If you don't do that, they don't go away. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of all these guys. I don't find them particularly useful right at this moment. But that's why they exist, in case you were curious. With those out of the way, what I'm gonna do now is create my perspective, if you will. So oh, I didn't get this. What's this one? Get out of here! Come on. Get out of here. Yeah. There he goes. Okay. Yeah, I want to make, so I could just straight up draw this if I felt really great and stuff, but I want to try and do this as easily as possible. So I was going to actually use my pen, but I know many of you probably don't have that, so I'm actually going to try and do this with a mouse, which would not be normal the way that I work, and don't hold me to it because I end up switching over, but we're gonna do what we can, because I think, I want to try and make this as easy as possible. Alright, so, in here now, what I need to do is I'm going to make a new layer, okay? And then what we're going to do after that is I'm going to, I'm doing a background, right? So when you do a background, I'm trying to draw basically this drawing here, this panel here, or actually this one here, right? So it should have perspective, especially since it's just buildings. So I'm actually going to move this guy over here so I can look at it while I'm doing it. But it has perspective, right? So if you've learned, you probably have taken drawing about 1 point or 2 point perspective. You put a single point and then you have lines going to it. In Illustrator, I believe, I haven't used Illustrator in years, but they have a perspective grid that you can use to draw out things. Photoshop doesn't have it, so we're going to kind of just make one. I'm sure you probably download something, but we're just going to make one in here. So to do it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a new layer first. I just made a new layer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my horizon line. Okay, so the horizon line obviously is the line at which, you know, the Earth meets the sky. Okay, now it technically could be anywhere, but we like to keep the rule of thirds. So you either try to do the bottom third or the top third. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the top third because this is a downward looking shot. We're looking down at him because he's supposed to be looking more pathetic. If you look at someone from above, it makes them look more small and sad. We want to look down, not up. We're not trying to make him like a champion. Okay, so that being said, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and go to my brush, and I'm just going to make sure my opacity is 100, my flow is 100, and this is just guide anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to this, make sure it's the hard round. The size, I'm just going to go ahead and make it, oh, wrong button. Let's make it 4, and let's make it red. So that way we can see it, okay? Because I'll probably make the lines black to start with. And I'm just going to draw that roughly at the 1/3 mark. So you can do this a couple ways, actually. I'm going to do what I just took away. I'm going to go to View and do New Guide Layout. And you can see you can break up columns and rows. I just need rows, and I'm going to do 3. So break it up into 3. And let's also do 3 here as well, okay? So I have this new guide layout, and now I know where that is. And also make sure that you have snapping on, and extras so you see it. And then also just leave this stuff turned on. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and use my brush, and I'm just going to click on this and click and drag across. I also held Shift just because Shift will make it stay straight. So I drew a horizon line. Hooray! Okay, now I have a horizon line, and I need to draw basically lines coming off of this. Now, it's going to be super annoying. I could make like 1,000,000 of them, and this would work, but I'm going to try and like auto do it in a way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hit C for the crop tool, okay? I'm just going to back this thing up. And my 1-point perspective or my point should actually be over to the right. So I'm actually going to pull this out because if I try to do it from here, it's not going to look as good. I actually need to draw it from here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to switch to the Polygon Tool, okay? Now with the Polygon Tool, make sure you're on pixels because I just want to draw a picture. And then mode is normal, opacity again 100, you can leave it aliased. Click on this, and I want you to turn on star, okay? So normally when it makes a polygon, right, it's just going to draw it out. But if you do star, what it does, it goes in and out to each one. We want to do a star, and then we want to indent the sides by 99. So what that means is that when it comes in, it's going to go 99% of the way in, right? Because obviously I can have a star that's kind of, out, or I can have one that's really, in. I want to get all the way in. So make that 99 thickness. Let's go ahead and just do 2 so I can see it a little bit better. And then sides, I'm just going to do 100. Now I might need to change the number depending on, how many lines I end up getting out of it, but we're going to start with that. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click drag. And the nice thing is because we have snapping and we have that grid on there, it actually will snap to it. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, you know what? I could use a couple more. So I'm going to undo that, Control Z, and let's do 200. Get real fancy with this, okay? Okay, so apparently 100 is what we're going to go with. So let's go ahead and, let's see, we'll snap. Didn't really quite go where I was going. Okay. Not snapping. Well, if I hold Shift, that will keep it snapped. I'm just going to hold Shift. Just make sure I draw it on that line. And I'm just going to pull it across like so. That looks fine. And then I can, if I wanted to, if I did want more lines, I could just click it in the same spot. And this time just put halfway between. Like so. And now I have, 200. Okay. Now once that's done, I don't need that anymore. I literally just drew that star so I could get these lines coming out. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the crop tool, hit C, and just click. And hopefully if you have snapping, it should snap right to the end there, and then hit enter, and boom, now we're back here. I'm going to hit Control H to hide my, Control H, there it goes, to hide my layer, what is it called? The layer guides, whatever that thing. I have to get rid of that, so let's Control plus. And now you'll see I have this. Now, if you did need to do 2-point perspective, I'm only going to do this one piece of artwork with you because there's no need for you to do it with me. What you can do is also, on this side, do the same thing again. Take this, and then, I'm a group. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, apparently I grouped this. I don't need you in a group. Get out of here. Yow! Get rid of you. On the layer, I can, imagine I did this correct, but I could draw a point and go like this, and then you would have your 2-point perspective. So I do 2 of them because it's, and then you have 2-point perspective to work with. But I'm just going to do 1-point perspective for this because I think that's a little bit easier to work with. But it is an option. if you were to so decide. Okay, so now we've got our lines and our grid that we can basically draw from, and I can use that as a guide. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just, let's see, should I lower the opacity of this? Doesn't seem to be doing, oh, there it goes. Okay, not very responsive today, so I'll go like 50%, we'll say, and then I'm going to go ahead and lock it. And then I'm going to create another layer and put it underneath. And actually, I'm going to rename this also Persp Grid. Okay, Persp Grid. Okay. Now I'm going to grab this. And what I'm going to start with is just trying to draw out, go back to my brush tool. We'll leave it at 4 is fine. Again, make sure the opacity. I'm just going to draw a line drawing basically of it first, and then we'll paint inside of it and then remove the line drawing. That way it's kind of like color by number. It's a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to get that. Just go ahead and make this black, just so it's easier to work with. I got all the things good. All right. So yeah, now we're just going to go ahead and do that from here. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one the sidewalk line, and then we'll do from there. So to do my sidewalk, one thing that you can do is if you click here, if I need to draw a straight line, I can click here. And if I hold shift and click here, it will draw a straight line from where you drew. I don't know if you know that or not. But so now I drew a straight line, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this next one as my other guy. So click, hold shift, and click. Boom. All right, good. So now we have that going on. 2-point perspective would be good because I could actually use it to draw out these the lines that go this way. So maybe we'll throw it in after. I don't know. Okay. So we're going to call that good, and I'm going to use these next set. I'm going to use the next set here just to draw the buildings. Okay, so I'm just going to start here, I guess. I'm going to click, hold shift, and click. We'll say that's one building, and then we'll click, hold shift, and click, and there's the next building, and we'll click, hold shift, and click. All right, now I need to draw the lines going straight up for my verticals, right? This is actually relatively easy. You just hold shift, click, and drag, and you can see no matter if I go left or right, it doesn't make a difference. I'm just going to pull straight up. It did kind of make a weird weighted this, but just click and drag up. So I'm holding shift, clicking. Oops, I held shift from the previous one. So you might want to click first, then hold shift and click, because otherwise it's going to draw a straight line. So like that, I'm just going to click out here just to make a dot, and that way it doesn't try to, oh crap, it does, that's right. Click here first, then hold shift and click. There we go. Click, hold shift, and click. And then click, hold shift, then click and drag. Good, okay. So now we got that going on. That's all great. And now we just need to draw basically the next ones, right? So got that going on, and yes, I probably do need a second perspective because that helped me with all the other lines. Go ahead and do that actually. So we'll just go on to this one. I'm gonna unlock that guy. No, I don't need to make another layer. I'm gonna yeah, got that selected. I'm back to red. I'm gonna back this thing up, and we'll hit E for the crop tool. I'm gonna pull this guy over. Okay. I'm gonna turn. I'll say Control H to bring back my guides there, and then go back to the Polygon Tool. Should already be set up because we did it a second ago. And then we are going to do this. So I don't know exactly where I need it to be, so I'm just gonna see what makes sense. That looks pretty okay. Because I'm thinking, if you look at the way it is, I feel like it would kind of be right here-ish. So I'm going to put mine right here. I'm going to hold shift, make sure it lines up with that. Okay. And I'm going to click on it again. And I'm not going to hold shift this time, and go roughly halfway between. It's kind of hard to tell, but we'll say right about there. Can't see it. There it is. Okay. Boom. Okay. So now that's all good. I'm going to lock this guy back up. Go back to my drawing here. And hit the crop tool again. Hit C for the crop tool. I'm going to drag it over here. Just snap. Get there. Boom. I'm going to hit Control H to get rid of my guides there. And now I can use that to basically draw these next lines. I'll go back to my brush tool, back to black, and we can start drawing them out. Now if you look, these lines aren't perfect because they don't quite line up, but they're pretty close. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to hold shift, and then click here. And click at the corner of this one and hold shift and go there. And good. Now we got those. And then I can also use that to do these as well. So it's a matter of how you want to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold shift, or click, hold shift, and click. Click, hold shift, click. Click, hold shift. That's a little too close. Let's use this one. There. And we'll go to here. There's actually a math behind this. I'm not going to do it, but like if you had the certain number, it would be more accurate. We'll go ahead and go with that. And then I cannot tell where they are over here, so it's going to... You can already see that's actually wrong. Imagine I did a good job. Just picture ahead, okay? No, it's hard, but do the best you can. So this should actually have a little bit of a curve too. So I'm going to click here, hold shift, and click. There we go. All right, so I got my build-ins. I got that going on. That's all pretty good. You can see a general sort of layout. What else do I need? And I could use this to draw the building doors and stuff too. So I could draw that, but like, you know, I could use this line inside of here. So I'm just gonna do that, I guess. So click, click, oops, hold shift, click, and then I'm just gonna hold shift, click, and drag down. Click this first, then hold shift and click and drag down, and then we'll just, that door's there, so I guess it's got to be here. So we'll click, and hold shift and click, click, and hold shift then and click. Oops, a little bit too far. Alright, I know I'm not Bob Ross, for those of you that are old enough to recognize Bob Ross. And let's just erase out that. Okay, good. So now you can see we have a general kind of perspective. I can turn this off, the grid, and you can see more or less perfect perspective, and not like, you know, not a terrible way. So from here, what I would do is basically draw out more details and things like that. I'm going to stop the video here, and then the next one, I am going to, oh wait, one other thing. I didn't draw the horizon line here, sorry. Let me just quickly draw that. So if you know, well, this one you don't, but there we go, now I'll turn that off. Okay. So now we've got this stuff going on there. That's good. So I might add a couple of details. I don't know, we'll see how much energy I have here. And then, so that might be updated in the next one, and we're just going to basically paint this in so you have a rough idea how to do it. All right, see you in the next one.